In section 2.6, we learned about multiplying and simplifying fractions, and we also do some applications. So there are two learning objectives. So here are the rules for multiplying and simplifying fractions. A, write the products in the numerator and the denominator, but do not carry them out. Then factor the numerator and factor the denominator. Then factor the fractions to remove a factor of 1, if possible. And step C will be shown, but we'll show you all the steps in just a moment. And then carry out the remaining products. So let's look at exercise 1 to explain all the details what we just discussed here. So we write the product of the numerators divided by the products of the denominators. So 3 times 8, that's this 8 here. And now we factor, well, the numerator is already factored, 2 times 7, there's nothing else to factor. But in the denominator we need to factor 8, and that's 2 times 2 times 2. So then we write 2 divided by 2, and that leaves us with a 7 in the numerator, and a 3 times 2 times 2. Now, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and so then we have 1 times 7 divided by 3 times 2 times 2, or there would be 4 times 3 is 12, so the answer is 7/12. So take another look at what happened here and make sure you really understand every step. Maybe you want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and write it out for yourself. Begin with the original problem statement and see if you can remember how to do it yourself. Because that type of a skill will be needed later on for simplifying and reducing fractions. So let's do number 2. So here we have 4 fifths times 5 twelfths. So 4 fifths times 5 twelfths. So we write the numerator as 4 times 5 divided by 5 times 12. And then we factor the numerator. So we can factor 4 as 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times 5. And in the denominator, we can factor 12 as 2 times 2 times 3. That's equal to 12 times the 5. So now we can write this as 2 divided by 2 times 2 divided by 2 times 5 divided by 5. And now we have a 3 in the denominator. That's this 3 here. And so we need a factor of 1 in the numerator. So we have all the factors, 2 times 2 times 5. The 1 is a factor. Just gives us the same number back. In the denominator, we have all the factors 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, just a different order. So we know that 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1 times 1/3, and 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. So then the answer is equal to 1/3. Similarly, we can do number 3. Now remember 16 is the same as 16 divided by 1 to make it conform to multiplication of fractions. So we can factor the numerator. So 16 factors into 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, then times 3, that's this 3 here. In the denominator we have 1 times, and 8 factors into 2 times 2 times 2. So that means we can now write this as, let me see if we can, okay. We can leave out the 1, so it would be 2 divided by 2. That takes care of these two 2's. Then the next 2 divided by 2 times 2 divided by 2 times 3 divided by 1 and there's an extra 2 in here. We have 4 2's in the numerator and 3 2's in the denominator. So that's equal to 1 times 1 times 1, and 3 times 2 is 6 divided by 1, and 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and so it's 6 divided by 1, and that's equal to 6. So this is the answer for number 3. 6. And number 4, that's equal to 5 divided by 8 times 4. We write this as 4 divided by 1. So we can factor the numerator. 5 times 4 is 2 times 2. The denominator is 8 times 1. And 8 factors as 2 times 2 times 2 times 1. That's this one here. So we notice that we can rewrite this now as 2 divided by 2 times 2 divided by 2 times 5 divided by 2 times 1. So 2 divided by 2, of course, is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is also 1, times 5 divided by 2, because 2 times 1 is 2. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 5 divided by 2 is 5 divided by 2. So that's the solution to number 4. So 5 divided by 2. As an application, let's look at exercise number 5. It's about candy. Chocolate Delight sells 4/5 pound boxes of truffles. How many pounds of truffles will be needed to fill 85 boxes? So step number 1 is to familiarize ourselves with the problem. So number 1, familiarize. So we let n equal the number of pounds of truffles needed to fill 85 boxes. So we notice that each box requires 4/5 pound of truffles. And so now we need to translate that. So that's per box. So we need to add 85 boxes, so repeated addition. So in other words, it's multiplication. So therefore, n equals 85 times 4/5 of a pound per box. 85 boxes times 4/5 of a pound per box. And then number 3 would be to solve. So n equals 85 times 4 divided by 5, or 85 divided by 1 times 4 divided by 5. And 85 factors into 17 times 5 divided by 1 times 4 divided by 5. And we see we can cancel the 5s. So then 4 times 17 is equal to 68. So we check our calculations. First of all, does the answer make sense? Yes, because we need less than 85 pounds, because it's less than a pound per box in the 85 boxes. So the number makes sense. And checking the calculations, again, a couple of ways to do it. You can even use a calculator, multiply 85 times 4, which is 340 divided by 5 is 68. There are a couple of ways to get to the answer of 68. So 68 checks. And now we state our answer. £68 of truffles are needed to fill 85 boxes. And this exercise concludes section 2.6.